I might have to kick.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Technical issues.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was about to kick my husband and my son off of the TV. Like I need all of the internet. I need all of the internet to discuss. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to my channel. Good to see everybody. This is Cass from whatcassread. We are here for book number 50 bajillion of the Elderling along, because we are here today to talk about Fool's Assassin, book number 1 of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. Book number 1 of the final trilogy. I can't believe it's here. I know.
Long journey.
Do we need to go around and introduce ourselves? Are we like doing that? What should we do?
We could do it while we do like basic thoughts.
Okay. For those of you, I'll just give the brief synopsis, right? If you have followed along with us thus far, we are going to talk about spoilers for literally everything leading up to this point. So if you're not caught up, you've been warned, but it should be no surprise. Fitz Chivalry Farseer is now living the life of a country squire, with his love of his life, Molly, and finally able to live a retired life. But as we have come to know, that Fitz Chivalry's life doesn't always get to be that happy little retired life that he had dreamed of. So that's where we are at in this book. Who wants to start? Am I okay? I am getting over a cold.
You have that like sultry rasp.
Okay.
Who's next?
Ashley, I'll let you start with your thoughts.
General thoughts. I rated it 4 stars, probably closer to 4.5. And I was just stressed the entire time. That is all.
That is fair. I gave it 5. I think it's the best Fitz book that I've read.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if it's better than the Liveship Traders yet because I see that as a package. So like we'll see.
Yeah.
But like this was a very promising first book to a trilogy. I was waiting for one particular thing to happen the entire time. Like you guys warned us as well that there was extra perspectives, and the perspective that we got was not what I anticipated it being at all. And then I spent the entire book waiting for something, and when that thing actually happened, it was devastating.
Yeah.
And I was also stressed throughout like the last 100 pages.
Yeah. I also gave it 5 stars because I'm so happy to be back with these characters because I didn't feel much connection to the characters in the last series. And I just love them, as infuriating as they are, especially in this one. But yeah, full stress, just anxiety the whole time. And I finished this 15 minutes before this live show. So I really got it close. I forgot how long they take to bloody read.
Yeah.
Like over anticipated what I could do. So I managed it. And now I don't know how much I'm going to have to say first off, because I'm still kind of in shock at some of the things and I'm a little bit speechless, but I'm sure I will have things to rant about later.
Once it comes to you.
Yeah. But
yes. I also gave it 5 stars. As soon as I finished it in the group chat that we have I just went, fuck. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I agree. Like, I think it's one of the best Fitz books that I've read. I miss these characters. I had a sense of foreboding, like literally the whole time reading this book. Like everyone said, I was expecting things to go down, and when they did eventually go down, it was like, I knew, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Also,
down to the wire.
Made it though.
Yeah.
Oh, Fifi said that she thought that we would think it was way too domestic. I think it's the most compelling Fitz book that I've read.
I was happy for a little domesticity for him.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that this is he's like reached his hottest, which feels weird because he's like 60, But like some of the domesticated Fitz was like doing. I think it's because I'm nearly 30, so like the domesticated Fitz was doing it for me a little bit. Like at some points he was being a good dad, and I was like, yeah, I like it. Carry on.
Yeah. I guess how far in, like, how non-spoilery can we even get? Like in the chat, is everybody done with this? Do we need to just go straight to spoilers?
I think so.
I think so.
Beth, that skill healing is keeping him fit. If you guys measure.
Oh god. I mean, I'm looking at my notes, like where to begin though.
I know. Well, I don't, because I don't have notes.
As like a very, very, very basic beginning thought, I just thought it was really good at giving like a previously on without seeming like a previously on moment. Like, it was really good at being like, so this has happened previously.
Oh, Molly said he's like 50. He starts off at 47, but the birth happens when he's at least 50, like early 50s, and then the kid's like nearly 10 by the end of the book, so 60-ish.
Yeah, it's covered a lot of ground, huh? This book.
It's in the first couple of 100 pages in years.
I had that realization.
Like we have usually like 200, 300 pages of one journey for these books.
I had that realization on Friday when I finished it, because I remember like when it stated that he was 47 years old or something, and I was like, oh, so we have like an actual definite age for once. And I was like, wait, no, we've skipped years.
Because he just suddenly goes, it's like, this summer this happened, and then this winter we did this, and then in summer this happened. It's like, wow, we're just like speeding through those real quick, huh?
Okay. All right. I don't even know like where I want to begin with this one.
I want to talk about how annoying what's the name is.
Oh God, Sean.
Okay.
Should be shunned. Look how apt the names are. Yeah.
I hate as well that he has the like alter ego and he's living a life under a different name, because I'm like, you need to watch who you're talking to.
Yes. Also, okay. Huh?
Who's her father?
I think Regal, right? Because she has that attitude.
But Regal wasn't a Farseer.
Oh yeah, true.
I think he was a bastard.
Is she a Farseer? Oh wait, did I?
They think, they definitely. Everyone walked in and clocked that she's a Farseer. It seems like she would be Shades because of the way that he's behaving, but he is way too old to have a daughter that's 20 with a 19-year-old at the time of conception.
I mean, it's not too old for men.
I know, but like just the age difference is really creepy because he's like really old. And she said that her mother went to Springfest at Bookkeep when she was 19. And that was 19 years ago, so Shade would have still been really old.
Cough drop.
Regal isn't Shrewd's son, is he? He's Thingy, the woman. I'm pretty sure
that he's Shrewd's son, because how could he be like legitimized as like Prince Regal if he wasn't Shrewd's son?
Because he was a secret bastard. Because it was the queen who was pregnant, so like, but she was still married to the king, I thought, and wasn't. Oh wait, no, it was Galen. Was Galen the bastard?
Yeah, Galen was.
Galen was the bastard.
Yeah, there we go. That's fine. But he couldn't have been Regal's because she would have been born when Fitz was 35 and Regal was already dead.
Yeah, this is true. Timing doesn't work out.
That's true. I also think so. That moment in like the hallway, do you know what I'm talking about, when she catches Fitz off guard, and she's trying to like wheedle her way into like Fitz with her conversation. Excuse me. I think she let on like.
Bless you.
I feel like in this book in particular, I just lost track of who was fucking the son and daughter of who. I literally wrote at one point.
Fitzvigilant, who's suspicious.
Yeah. I literally wrote at one point that this is starting to feel like Nanny McPhee because it was just a household of like 20 kids going on.
Yeah, but all of them were adults.
So confused. Like how like between Molly and Fitz alone, they had 10 at the start, and then he just adopted like 5 through the course of this book. And I'm like, for God's sake.
Okay, as I was saying, with Shun and Fitz in the hallway, her like cunning makes me think she's got to be Shades, right? Like she was very sinister, like undertones when she was talking to him.
I feel like she is, but it's still a creepy age difference. I don't appreciate it.
Because his mom was really young, right? When like they got pregnant.
Yes.
Her mom, even not his mom.
Yeah, she was 19. So like if we're thinking when Fitz was a kid, he thought that Shade was old. So I would put Shade at least 40, 50 at the time that Fitz was a kid. So if we go for the younger one at like 40, Fitz is now 60. So if we add 50 onto that, Shade's 90. But he was like, after the first trilogy, he was described as being a bit of a ladies' man, wasn't he? But still.
Possibly.
Yeah, she also started crying when he named her Fall Star.
I mean, Shade has been living his best life for like the last couple of books. So
he's like the only one that seems to be doing better over time.
He's having a grand old time.
But then they said that he was more spry than usual and he seemed like still quite fit. But Fitz said that he was wearing a corset when he saw him to like keep him upright to help his posture. Yeah, you know.
I think there's something going on with Shade. Like, what if this whole time he's the bad guy?
I actually don't. I think he might be, because there's a lot of prophecies in this book, and one of the prophecies that Bee has, she says that when the bee falls, the butterfly will return, which is obviously in reference to the Fool. But then she says before the butterfly returns, she had the dream about the wolves, but they weren't wolves. They were like quite like, I don't know, like decrepit looking wolves, but like similar to wolves. And they arrived pulling a carriage. And then the next chapter, they like Shun turned up with Riddle in a carriage. So and obviously they've come from Shade. And then it also mentions in here how Fitz has always trusted Shade, and then he was a certain age when he realized that he was infallible, and then it's like, well, when Shade asked me to do something, like I do it implicitly, and like I still don't realize that like he's infallible, like there's something in me that wants to trust him. So I'm worried.
I'm very worried. And like as the ending was like, it was kind of like it felt to me like a Sanderson ending, like everything just kind of like happened one after another, and like all these answers were revealed. I kept thinking that Shade is planting these people.
It would be an interesting one in terms of if, with how it ended, what the Fool has actually asked is for him to kill Shade, for instance, because he's the one behind it all. That loyalty is going to be hard.
Yeah. Oh God, that's what she's going to do, isn't she? Robin Hobb just likes to make us hurt, so probably what's going to happen.
The only 2 people that are still in his life from send him
That is terrifying.
Because how old is Shade now? 90?
At least.
Like how we're all just like sad at the prospect.
We're a whole 14 minutes into the live show and we're like, oh shit.
Devastated if it's Shade.
Yeah.
I really am. But like what's going on with the Fool and like the servants? Like what does that even mean? And it's like they used to serve the whites, but they don't anymore. Now they do what? And why do they want their son? What for?
Son that's not a son.
I was getting so annoyed the whole time when like Fitz wasn't clocking on to the fact that she was going to be white. Just like, really?
Yeah, because he's like, oh, when I was a kid, the fool looked the same age as me, but he said he was a lot older than me. And then, like, how is this not? I don't know.
How have you, like, you spent like a long period of time with a white and you're not clocking the fact that your daughter could be?
I didn't know if it was a thing that I was meant to think that she's actually somehow the fool's daughter.
Yeah, so B put this in the Discord, and it's a thought that I had, but I can't make it make sense.
Yeah.
So I wondered if she was the fool's daughter somehow because of his connection to Fitz.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We had the whole like Nettles conception.
Right. No, it was dutiful.
Dutiful conception.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Via Wolf. So like, if they were still connected, could it somehow be the fool's daughter? Because he was looking for a son, they were looking for a son. Apparently that's B.
See, the thing is as well with B is that many times throughout the book since her mother died, she's mistaken for a boy. So I thought that's how she could be the boy that they were looking for, but then I didn't know whether, like, how can she be, like, we need an explanation of how she can be the fool's kid.
We never got an explanation as well about how the fool just gender swaps all the time. So that could very well be a thing that B has as well.
Yeah, because I'd have thought, I was like, what if it was Amber who had a kid?
But then the fool would know, and the fool apparently has no idea.
That was like an early thought, and then I was like, oh, okay.
But then how is Fitzvigilant Laurel's son? And then Laurel just got up one day, left court, and mysteriously died. Like, what is going on?
What if B isn't the fool's child? What if it's all like a spiritual child, but not like a physical child? Because like, also, this was the thought I had. I was telling Cody, I was telling everybody before we went live that like I didn't take notes, but I had a thought in the shower. This was the thought, was that what if Fitz's purpose this whole time as the catalyst was to give birth to B?
To create the next white prophet.
Create the next white prophet. And so like this spiritual kind of connection between the spiritual child, that was the thought that I had that was kind of like blowing up my mind.
It's also concerning that like the fool said something about how the white prophets were basically kind of like Jade in the sense that he thinks that they're making situations happen. So it's like, how much power do they have? Like, do they? Yeah, because they obviously have a white with them, like the dude that was like saying my brother to be.
Oh, the fog person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the link between them made it the fool's child somehow. But I don't trust my own theories anymore because I'm like, I feel like I came across that theory too easily for it to be true. I'm just like, I don't trust it. I feel like Robin Hobb's laying me into a trap.
Ewald said it's like a little bit up now, but Ewald said the butterfly man wasn't a man. I think prophecies don't do gender well, but I still think that the fool is the butterfly man because I'm pretty sure the prophecy was the butterfly returns or something. Although I could have just like, because I just assumed that was about the fool anyway, so I might have just like misremembered the end of the prophecy. Fitz could have white prophet blood somewhere because he's saying that the blondness comes from his mother, but his mother could have been a white, possibly. But the thing is as well, I feel like this would have made more sense if the fool hadn't removed the skill touch of Fitz.
Right.
But they've had that link removed, so like they are still obviously connected, but not as like tangibly as before. Wow. Oh no, you've missed one because Night Eyes is also Wolf Father.
Yeah. I'm so happy that Night Eyes is back, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 dads.
Yeah.
Like Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Who's the real father? We'll just never find out.
Probably.
No, I teared up. I didn't cry, but I did tear up when Night Eyes was saying to her, like, you're never alone.
Oh,
here, and I'm like,
I want to know how that's manifested in her as well, because Night Eyes still lives on in Fitz, but Fitz wasn't there at the time.
But didn't Night Eyes talk to the Fool all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Was that you, Ashley?
Sorry.
Also something that I really enjoyed about this book is when Bee was reading Patience's letters, and then she read the letters from Burrich, and I completely forgot that he had a thing for Patience before she married Chivalry, and I was like, oh my god, Patience, you had another lover? And then she said it was Burrich. I was like, oh my god, it is. And then she started putting how like messed up it is that Burrich was in love with her grandmother, and then Molly and Fitz made a baby, and then Burrich married Molly, and I'm just like, this is just too much.
Far too complicated.
This is what happens when there weren't that many people in the world.
Yeah.
Fall in love with. This was a good question.
Why did it take so long to realize B hates when he's skill open to her? Why is he so dumb?
It's just
dumb. Because he tested her for the skill and realized that she didn't really have any aptitude for it. So then he doesn't expect people who don't have an aptitude for the skill to be able to sense anything. So it might have just been something that you didn't think of.
She also has the wit, right, as well. She's speaking to that cat.
Yeah. But like not in a wit way, not in the way that Fitz feels the urge to bond to everything, just in that she converses with them like the people.
Yeah, but like how Night Eyes talk to the Fool.
Yeah.
I think the cat just chose that you're good. I can talk to you. I really do like how Night Eyes was like, yeah, cats don't. He's like,
yeah, that was it. Burrich was in love with her grandmother, raised her father, and then married her mother.
Remember when that first happened? We were all so outraged. We're like, how are Molly and Burrich getting together?
I just fully lost track of the Farseer family. Like, I'm so confused by who was related to who at this point.
So I'm going to say something that I thought I would never say, but this book actually made me like Molly.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Like reading about Molly from Bee's eyes made me really enjoy Molly. But also, I was a little devastated when Molly just like dies in the garden. I was like, oh.
I was shook by that chapter. I was reading that during sprints, and I had the audiobook on a fast speed, and then it was like, and then she died, and I was like, whoa.
It's a theme in this book though, because Patience also just keels over.
Yeah, she does this a lot, Robin Hobb, though, doesn't she? Like sometimes you have to go back and be like, wait, did I just read that right? They died?
I don't know whether it's something of because those were coming from like Bee's point of view. Every death that happened from Bee's point of view was, and then they died. And I don't know if it's because it's like she's getting all these prophecies and dreams and stuff, and that's kind of just how she sees it. Like you can almost imagine the Fool seeing just life that way. It's just a thing that happens, and she's like, and then they died. And I was just like, okay. But I did find it interesting that because I don't know if I just missed the chats from last time where we were warned that there's going to be new perspectives and stuff. But I found it really, really interesting that that was the point that we first saw Bee's perspective, because it's like, I don't think we would have been able to experience that from Fitz's point of view.
No.
Like, how can you
experience and stuff from his point of view? And it's just really like he's depressive. He's very depressive. So it's not the most compelling thing to read. It's just miserable and boring because he does not stairs at walls or walks for like thousands of miles while thinking about how miserable his life is.
Yeah.
Patience deserved better than an off-page death. I agree with that.
Yeah. But it was nice how she saw chivalry, like, to the side of Fitz. That was...
Oh.
Oh, that's right. B was just like, and then they died, and I was like, oh, okay, another one.
That's what I was thinking of. So back to the beginning, where Fitz has to be careful with who he talks about and who he tells. How is it that nobody's been able to put together that he's Chivalry's son?
Yes,
he's like a walking embodiment of chivalry.
In the house that he lives in, of Chivalry, who he looks identical to, and nobody thought, like, yeah, he might be Chivalry's. Like, he comes here with a bond to Patience, to this house. Like, Patience adores him, and he looks exactly like Chivalry. And everyone knows that Chivalry had a bastard son. And then there's people going around just calling him Fitz, and everyone can hear, and nobody's thinking, Fitz Chivalry?
The thing as well where I'm like, it's the photos, paintings of anybody else, because like if it's just him, I'd be like, why him? The entire royal family who you got to paint it off.
There's also a portrait of the Verity and Chivalry's mother and Shrewd. Is she Destiny? Desire?
Desire does sound right, but I don't know.
Whichever one is their mother.
B like mentions it too.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I have her nose, which I thought was adorable.
Which, it's interesting that B can make these connections to things, but even to the point where she looked at the carving of the fool and was like, that's the beggar. But nobody else can make these connections. Like, Fitz didn't even recognize him.
I don't think, but in Fitz's defense, I don't think he was even cognizant of the group of people at large. I think B is just like extraordinarily observant.
Yeah.
Fitz was trying to have like a good day on the town with his daughter to celebrate Winterfest. I knew, I was like, this is too happy.
There is no plan.
This is very Chivalry's mom.
There we go. Thanks to everybody else for taking such good notes for us.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know why we're the ones hosting.
Jessica's comment about Shun and Land are so far removed from the history of Fitz Chivalry. But Shun knows that she's a Farseer, right? So that's her history. Like, that's relevant information to her. And there's rumors about him all the time that he didn't die. There's things that people are aware of.
But I'm also thinking of just like the staff, the people around Withywood's. Come on now. Like, apparently Chivalry was like the holder of Withywood's. Like, you didn't...
And they know him. Like, some of the older ones, like I imagine the cook will have met Chivalry and now knows Fitz.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Shun is an idiot, which is very confusing because she seemed to be quite confident in her abilities as an apprentice assassin. And that just all went out of the window, like, really quickly.
Yeah, now she just seems to like want to marry rich. It seems.
But that's why I think she's a plant. That's why I think
she's egotistical.
I think that's her assassin weapon. It's her sassy sauciness.
But I don't understand why she thinks that she's such a lady, because like she even says like, oh, I grew up in a backwater town with my grandparents away from everything. And it's like, okay, well, why do you have such airs and graces? Like, why do you think you're hot shit?
The scene where she's like trying to be like, you can't talk to me like that, and he's just like,
yeah.
Sure.
I really liked that bit where he was like just getting really fed up with her.
Yeah, she gives me early Malta vibes, you know, like when they were poor, but she was always like striving to still keep, like she's very proud. I feel like it's very similar.
This is the thing though as well, like Fitzvigilant is arrogant, but why is the person that Shade describes so different from the person that Fitz experiences? There's something not right there, because like Shade's like, oh yeah, he's really good at this and like he's a good, because they've become attached to him. But like he seemed like a massive knob.
Well, he's just dead.
And then even Nettle said, like, oh, she'll be all right with him.
Hmm.
Maybe Nettle trusts him.
Something at play.
Yeah, everyone loves Lanta Bookkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so here's the thing: is like everybody at Buckkeep is about keeping Dutiful on the throne. They're about the true Farseer line. So that's where their loyalties lie. Nobody's loyalty is to Fitz anymore, except for the Fool. So is Lant just playing a role? Is Shun just playing a role? I got very tinfoil hat toward the end of this book. I'm thinking like everybody's a plant against
I
him.
am suspicious of how quickly they handed over B to Lant and Shun, because nothing's that easy. I'm just like how quickly they were just like, yeah, look after her. I feel like Hob kind of set it up to be like, okay, what would get him away from his daughter? The only option was the Fool, and so the Fool comes crashing in again. And I feel like that was set up for some reason to get just be with them. And then that got waylaid.
But why should... Wait a minute. Could Shun be Dutiful's daughter?
A bastard of Dutiful? Doesn't that go against his name?
Well, yeah, but we know what Chivalry was up to.
He's smitten though, isn't he, Dutiful, with his wife?
He would be 35, 40-ish now, maybe, which would put him at like 15 to 20 at the time that she was conceived. With a 19-year-old, similar ages.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to marry Eliana to start off with.
Yeah, she spends a lot of time with her family, doesn't she?
I like we saw a lot of Dutiful's early angsty phase. I feel like we would have seen on the page if he was fooling around.
Yeah. The little bit that we got of him in this book I really liked. The way that he just like gave like a little smirk to Fitz when Fitz was like ordering him around. Really
Oh, Lant's dead now.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Well,
we think he is dead. Bleeding out in the snow. That's this is hilarious.
Is it Riddle that was the first goner? Literally the second he stepped outside, like arrow through you.
Yeah.
There's also, oh my god, I was so sad when everyone was dying, because I get really upset when in things like TV shows and stuff when places are destroyed.
Yeah, I hope Perseverance is okay. Hopefully he'll persevere.
I'm intrigued about him as well. I'm wondering if he is somebody suspicious, because he's only been mentioned since B's been going down to the stables to talk to him, and he said that he hit that other kid because of something that he said about his sister, and I don't know whether that was a front for like him sticking up for B, or whether he actually does have a sister. Plus, nobody knows who the sister is. Apparently, like B isn't aware that he has one.
All I kept thinking is it's a very Farseer name.
Yeah. If Shade had a kid, who'd he trust him with?
Fitz.
Yeah.
Unless he's evil.
Unless the end game is Shade trying to preserve his side of the Farseer line.
I love how Fitz is like, how could Shade send me these incompetent people to help raise B? And it's like, no, Fitz, Shade's clearly given them to you so you can train them. Like, come on.
Yeah, I got the impression that they did burn the house down at the end as well, which, yes, the children are all in the walls, which is
just... Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I didn't even think about that. Oof. Oh.
I mean, some of the tunnels are stone, so maybe they wouldn't die. If they
I don't reckon they'll die. They'll just be, like, closed in and someone will find them.
Like, if the house is on fire, though, it's going to get really hot in those tunnels.
It will. But I don't think they'll die.
I reckon that will get them out.
She's going to go through some kind of thing with the kids liking her.
I was going to say they'll just be lightly toasted.
I was sad over Revel too.
Yeah.
Revel coming to get the... that was very sad for me. And I was like, I didn't even know that I liked him that much.
I was suspicious of him, and something else that made me suspicious of him is that B pointed out that he smelled of roses, which I think Regal smelled of roses as well.
Just suspicious of everybody.
I am suspicious of everybody.
At this point,
like,
even I'm even suspicious of Dutiful now as well, because something that I thought about is that I think it was Molly pointed out that Dutiful's a puppet king because Catrican is the real queen, and he's off like he just keeps traveling everywhere, and his kids are traveling everywhere, and nobody's really there doing anything.
I think Catrican's the only person I actually trust in this.
Yeah,
I know.
totally. Wonderful, yeah.
we stand.
I think those kids intentionally locked B out.
They were the worst. I hated them, but it reminded me so much of the first book, like Assassin's Apprentice.
That's what I mean. I don't think that's why I loved this so much. I think I've been saying this whole time that like I was really excited that we maybe got to see a little bit more of chivalry in this book, and it just ended up being Chivalry's house, but the house I fell in love with. So that was also part of like the devastation of at the end, is that everything got trashed and everything got ruined, or how like Lady Patience had the rainbow wing, and I mean like that was awesome.
Yeah.
Nettle is the only pure character. I loved when Fitz compared her skilling to like maybe that's how Chivalry skilled, just like that force that he felt afterward, and I was like, nice.
One thing that made me cackle all the way through was Shade just like trolling Fitz like via the skill. Every time he was trying to sleep, he's like,
yeah, I didn't like Nettle in this one because I'm like the audacity of her to take his child away from him when it's his child. It's not her child, no matter how much she wants one and she can't have one, it's his child. And even though he might not be doing the best for her right now in this moment, he's grieving. And you can't take his child away from him without at least giving him the benefit of the doubt and enough time to grieve somebody he was spent the last 20 years with and then get his shit together. She's not going to die. She's not going to be neglected. There's a house full of people there.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
But also B is grieving too. Like they're grieving together.
Yeah. I was going to say that was one of my favorite parts of the book is them growing closer.
And then everyone keeps calling B stupid. And she's like, I don't want to go with my dad. No, I don't want to. I want to stay with my dad. I don't want to go with you. And she's like, oh, well, what do you know? You stupid. And it's like, no, she's like, you complaining that she doesn't talk. She's talking to you. You're not listening to her. Like, what is the point?
Especially as well, because wasn't she throwing an absolute hissy fit about where to live? Like, she didn't initially want to go to Bookkeep, did she? Or did she go back?
Way back when?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was
sure
to go, wasn't it? Because she liked him. They were friends.
Oh, it was, she wanted to go to Bookkeep, but Boric wouldn't let her.
Yeah.
She was skilling to her dad by accident. And he was just, like, popping up in the dreams. So, like, I just find it really ironic that she's now just like, I know what's best for you. And I'm like, you literally fought your way to Bookkeep.
It is kind of sad as well that Bookkeep's kind of moved on without Fitz.
Yeah.
I mean, it always was meant to. Because, I mean, Robin Hobb has made it very clear that Fitz is never going to have a place in Bookkeep. There's been so many instances. Yeah, there's been so many instances where people are like, you can have this if you want. And he thinks about it, and then she takes it away from him. So I'm very bitter about that.
One thing that was breaking my heart all the way through this was how Fitz was talking about the Fall. He genuinely sounded like he'd lost a soulmate, and I was like,
yeah.
Sweet
I didn't
baby.
have anything, but I remembered one thing he said about the Fool that like really broke me. I love that man as I have loved no one else. I do not say I loved him more than I love your mother, but that the way that I loved him was different.
Yeah.
And it's like every time he thought about the Fool talking to anyone else but not him, he got really jealous and stuff. And I'm like, he's literally acting like you're in a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the Fool's pride that stopped him from asking for help for Fitz sooner. So, oh.
I still think that he suspects that B is his and he didn't want to tell him because he loves Molly. And he didn't want to go to Fitz and be like, hey, you know that daughter you've got with Molly? Might actually be Ryan. Sorry about that.
I don't think if she has Constance's nose, then she would be more Fitz and the Fools than Fitz and Molly's, because I don't think she resembles Molly very much.
Molly's just a conduit.
Molly's fertile AF.
All right. Yeah, Deb's comment for a book with Fool in the title. I kept waiting for the Fool to come back. I was wondering as the book went on, I was like, is he ever going to come back, or is it just representative of the hold that he still has on Fitz, even though he's not here?
Yeah, I wondered that too, and I was like, I didn't expect him to even show up in this book. I expected him, if we ever came around to him, would be not in this book at all.
I was so excited for him to just like swan in, like flicking his hair with like all of his trunks and like moving into Withy Woods. And then when he did turn up, I was devastated. Oh my god. I did not see that coming. I was shook.
Yeah.
So sad.
That was a moment when I was reading it next to my husband, and I was like, I fucking knew it. Because like I just like had a bad feeling about, the alleyway. I had a bad feeling about the beggar. I had a bad feeling about B, like getting really dizzy and like disoriented. And I was like, something's going on here. And then it was revealed that it was the Fool. And I was like, I fucking knew it. I knew there was something going on here.
I feel like the second we zoned in on the beggar, I was like, that's the Fool.
Yeah, because it was mentioned more than once, but I thought he was going to be a bad guy and he was going to snatch her. And then because when she touched the Fool, when B touched the Fool and her vision like opened and she could see everything, I was like, this is weird because even though then the guy started talking about it and possibilities, he's like, oh no, you need to be trained, like you can't just jump in and start changing things. I was like, this sounds like the Fool. I still didn't click that it was the Fool. And I was like, maybe like it's part of her dream. Maybe she's doing it. Maybe it's nothing actually to do with this guy because she doesn't like touching people in general.
Yeah.
But no, it was, oh my god, it was the Fool. Like you would never think that the Fool would be a beggar ever.
No. Yeah. Also, the Fool never liked touching people either.
No.
The way he was tortured.
Can he make eye contact? Does the Fool make eye contact? I think he does.
I guess I don't know because we read it from Fitz's perspective.
One really random little motif, I guess, that I was like, I appreciate this, is there's generally, for as long as like fiction has existed, been a symbol that blinded people will be able to like see more clearly now. And the Fool's entered blind, but now understands that everything he knew is wrong. And like, I was just like,
is it wrong? Because I'm thinking he's been tortured. How do we know that he's not being misled now? By people who are hurting him and telling him that like he's not a true white. Well, then I don't understand how they're telling him he's not a true white, and he's like, oh my god, yeah, like I'm not a true white. But he's still the white prophet and Fitz is still the Catalyst. I'm like, well then surely it doesn't matter if you're a true white or not, because you still have the role of white prophet and like you're still doing what a true white would do. It's just they don't exist anymore.
I was wondering that last night of like, are we being taken on a wild goose chase again with these like this new group of people who have kidnapped B, and we're not actually going to get any more answers about the whites? Like, are we now Are we just being distracted from like all the answers that we've been wanting? Because like we've still got a lot that we don't know.
Yeah, because these are supposed to be the servants of the white, the people who served the whites and kept the archives and all of that stuff. But I expected different from the people who kidnapped B, because they didn't seem to have. I expected kind of like monks, but they seemed pretty much like normal people, apart from the one guy who was a white. And who's the woman? The older. I feel like if we'd have read that from a different perspective, we might recognize who the older woman is that's with them.
I don't know why she reminded me of, do you know the person who carved the thing on the back of the Narcheska?
Oh, the mother.
She reminded me of her. Not saying it is her, but just like the same.
As soon as it was described as having red hair, I was like, oh shit, it's the red woman's like daughter.
Doesn't the fool have a big tattoo on his back?
Yeah. I think we find that out in Golden Fool.
Yeah, when they were healing the Narcheska, and like, what is this? Like, this is what they put us through.
But why does she have a tattoo? I can't remember.
So she could be controlled by the red woman, right? What? It's not Red Woman, is it? Am I wrong? What was her name?
Pale woman?
Pale Woman? I'm getting it confused with Game of Thrones, aren't I?
The false prophet, according to.
Oh yeah, no, it was cut off. The fool's tattoo was cut off because they cut his skin off. Remember?
Oh god, yeah. We had to see him go through all that, and now we've had to see him be tortured again. It's too much.
That tattoo was done on the orders of the pit last bitch.
The last bitch, yeah. That's the one.
Oh god. It's just too stressful. Like, I just can't. I love the fool. The fool is precious.
Yeah.
Red Woman is Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I got it confused. I'm sorry, my bad.
We're at that level of confusion when it comes to the family tree, let me tell you.
But like,
I don't know who everyone's parents are. Is Fitz's mother now going to become more relevant again because of this stuff with B not being a normal child?
His mother is a pale woman.
I don't think she would like close circle us that much. We're like, literally everything's interconnected. Do you? She's too smart. Like Robin Hobb, the writer, is too smart for that.
No. Get the life out of me.
That sounded like my son screaming. I was like,
the thing is, as well, I thought that the prophet started off with completely white eyes, and B's got blue eyes, which is why I'm always like, is she a white? Because I thought from the beginning like she's white, but is she?
I think so. The dreams kind of make it seem like she is.
Even just like how she talks is reminiscent of them.
Yeah.
Like the way that she just chose not to for a very long time and was like,
yeah.
Oh, and her tongue was held down, like it was fastened to the bottom of her mouth, which is why she couldn't speak. But I don't know if
like
that's
a tongue tie.
I don't. It was grim the way she described it.
They do that for little babies sometimes. Laser it so it can loosen their tongue so they can eat.
Yeah, like I don't know very much about babies, so I don't know if it's like a real thing that happens to babies or whether it was something because she's white. Yeah, tongue tie. Okay.
Varying degrees of being white.
The Vulcans so drastically changed their appearance, so I wonder if we can do the same. Whites come in different degrees. There aren't really any full whites left. It could just mean that she's a white but not a white prophet, but then in which case what's the point of a white if they're not the white prophet?
Yeah, it's quite confusing. I thought it was just like one and now there's like many.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's loads of messengers that have come as well, so there's loads of them that have been around.
Well, I mean, they could just all be at different stages of their transformation, because like the Fool has, like we've said, has taken on so many different appearances.
Hmm. The whole thing about the Fool saying that whites aren't what they thought, and like they get darker as they go, made sense. Different appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Now doesn't he have like just blackened hands?
But I thought that's because of the torture.
It could be, but we have also met the guy whose name begins with P that I can never remember.
Is it not like Krillop or something?
Oh, Prilcop.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what color is the Fool now as well? Because the Fool should be like, I think, like a hazelnut color, maybe.
We don't know because it's caked in dirt.
Yeah, he's like got grey skin due to, I'm assuming, like malnutrition and stuff.
Yeah. Love how the entire time as well when like they but we're trying to get the Fool clean and it's just very clearly like I will not look.
I do love that, like, literally everybody came back for him.
Yeah.
I was like, there's all my friends.
I forgot that like Nettle and everyone wouldn't know who he was. Until they're just like, oh, I can tell that this is a really important person to you, so we'll help.
Did Nettle not meet him at all?
She said in the thing that she could tell it was an old friend and like she could feel Fitz's emotions from it, and that's why she was like, okay, fair.
I'm surprised he hadn't met him, like, not even mentally, because he was tied to Fitz.
But they spent that time at the end of the book talking about how that connection was severed because of the torture. Or are you just talking about in general? The mental connection.
He's so grateful, doesn't sound as good as Golden Fool either.
Yeah, I envisioned him as like a gray man. Gray looking.
We just ran out of synonyms for, for colours. But did she know Lord Golden? That's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I feel like she did, maybe.
Well,
Riddle
Jude's
did, because he went to the island.
I was going to say Jude's would have done, so I feel like Nettle would have maybe seen him in passing.
Yeah.
But not directly, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, barely anyone recognized him, because even Ketchikan, like, in front of him was just like, is that really him? So obviously it looks very different now. Just give
These dreams has me thinking she's the new White Prophet, as the Fool said previously. He had come to the end of his time as prophet because the past where he could no longer see the future possibilities. See, I can get behind this, but we only have 2 books left, and Robin Hobb has put the next books on hold, whatever they may be. So, like, I'm not sure if I'm down for that right now.
I'm just like, what do we need another prophet for? For God's sake.
Unless the Fool was never the prophet, and the prophet this whole time was B.
To do what? We've only got 2 books to resolve this.
I mean, they brought dragons back. What else is there to do? Like, what's the big bad that we're fighting? Is it the prophets?
Jade.
Yes, Jade.
I don't know how that would link to B, but I can see the Fool being like, can you kill him? It's being like, I don't know, can I kill him?
That's wild as well, because the Fool's like, I want you to kill all of them. Like, kill
Yeah. It's like, I really request that you kill this entire legion of people, please.
I don't think Nettle met Lord Golden because she wasn't a bookkeep, yeah. And then the Fool left at the end, and he didn't go back to book.
She will have heard of him, though.
Honestly, we've got like 20 assassins at the minute, so.
Yeah.
We do also have the stuff going on in Chelsea. There's a tenuous piece with Chelsea at the minute because was she a duchess that's taken over?
I kind of forgot about Chalcidian politics.
Yeah.
The way they set that up, though, it felt like it was set up to continue later down the line, maybe, with the duchess taking power.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chelsea have always been a problem, but never at the forefront of a conflict.
Well, wasn't it Chelsea that we just saw decimated by dragons in the last series?
Yeah, but that was very much like an afterthought added on. It was like the establishment of the dragons. Oh no, Chelsea. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, moving on. 20 years later.
So I'm like, I don't know, because she set up also, oh my god, what's the boy called? Selden? And the Duchess, if she is a Duchess.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
I will
God.
say this went so very differently than I expected it to, because I expected it to be because it's called the Fitz and the Fool, so I expected them to be embarking on an adventure.
Yeah, I thought they were just gonna like gallivant around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's called Fool's Assassin.
Which makes sense now based on like the end of that book.
Mm.
I'm stressed.
The next one, well, okay, so the next one, it like makes so much sense that like he tasks with Fitz with literally killing everyone, because here this cover has like Fitz back in like a bloodied battlefield with his battle axe. So I've been expecting something to go down for a very long time since I bought the cover, or since I bought this book. I don't know where my other copies are. The only ones I could find were these ones. So my office is still not unpacked. My books are still in boxes.
Something I noticed when I finished this is there's a bee on the front, but I didn't notice it. But there is a butterfly on the back as well.
Yeah. I wonder how the Elderlings fit into the
these
series.
covers.
Sorry?
I said I've never minded these covers because they were saying they hate these US covers.
I
never
really
minded
like
them.
the Liveship Traders in that style of cover. Yeah, we were not heading into this expecting a lot of discussion on the proper storing of clothing and how to appoint a nursery. Also, the fact that it took place entirely in Withywoods as well, I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I kept expecting at some point. So, like, the longest time I was held up and like not wanting to continue reading was when we get to chapter 21, Search for the Sun. Because I kept thinking, all right, now we're going to leave Withywoods at this point. Now we're going to like embark on this adventure.
And search for the sun.
Search for the sun. Just kidding. We stayed.
Oh, now I've just stressed because if Shade is the bad guy and then Fitz is just like, can you find out this information for me? Shade is going to find out why.
He doesn't know or didn't know why Fitz was looking for Laurel or whatever, Joffrin's kids. So he didn't know that because he wanted Riddles to find out. I don't want it to be Shade. Surely it can't be Shade because he knows who he sent to Withywoods. But they're always trying to lure Fitz out of Withywoods. And never wanted to get the book
because B as the prophet is endgame, and he wants to. If he really is with the servants, if he really is like a part of that whole thing, then she's the endgame. So sending all these plants to get information back to him. I mean, yeah, depending on what Shade's goal is, we never really know.
What is Shade's end goal?
I can't see the motivation here. I don't know what it would be.
The preservation of the Farseers. If you have a Farseer white, I mean, what would the implications of that mean? And if he wants to eliminate that.
He's skilled, so she's not a Farseer in the typical sense that he finds them useful.
He is pretty set on having Fitz like put his walls up when he sleeps and stuff, right? Like doing what he did at the beginning. I wonder if there's anything behind that as to why. Maybe because B can read him so easily or something. Or
maybe everybody was getting annoyed with Fitz not putting his walls up and be like, dude.
It's Like,
This
you are
is
the
true.
prince, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shade sealed himself. Why?
Mm.
But it does make sense. Like, he knows if he served 3 kings, like he knows everything about the Farseer.
Mhm.
So it does make sense
It's
that
not
he
being
would.
taken out already, honestly. I'm also
And
just
also
like,
there's-
this whole assassin business, I would expect it to be much more lucky.
yeah, I was literally about to say the same thing.
Like, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, like, Jade used to be like so in the shadows and stuff, and now he's just like at every party living it up.
You can be an assassin's apprentice. You can be an
Yeah.
assassin's apprentice.
Because he's a shady bastard.
Uh,
Is Shade happy with Dutiful being king? I would have to think so, because
He seems to have very little opinion on
Mm.
it, but Dutiful is next up, I guess. So
it also doesn't really sound like anyone trusts.
But if he doesn't want Dutiful to be king, who's going to replace him? Why did somebody try and kill Shun? And why did somebody try and kill Fitzvigilant?
Maybe they want to eliminate the Farseers. Maybe Shade is like sticking up for the bastards and wants to get rid of the Farseers. What if that's the whole game? Is to end the Farseers.
It does make a little bit of sense because he wasn't happy about the way that he was treated because he was a bastard, and as soon as he started to skill and stuff and he could come out of the shadows, like he's really thrived in that situation. But who's he going to put on the... He doesn't want to die as well, so he could be trying to put himself on the throne, but I would... just doesn't seem sensible to me because he is old.
Yeah. Maybe there's some like prophecy where like we've got a new white prophet, there's going to be a new catalyst is going to be within the Farseer line. So that's why like they're being attempted to be killed or something.
But who would care if Shun is Regal's bastard? If Shun's Regal's bastard, I'd say let him kill her. Like, she's going to end up anything like her father.
Yeah.
I'm just like, can you all just stop sleeping around? It's too many children.
There's definitely something with Fitzvigilant, especially because we found out that his mother is apparently Laurel, but nobody can make sense of how his father would be Lord Vigilant. So there's definitely something going on with him. And then Shade is purposely trying to hide Shun's mother and father. Why both? Could they be related?
Are all the nobility related at this?
Is everybody related? That's what I'm inclined to think.
Yeah, because Shade has always been about the Farseers.
Yeah.
But nobody seems happy with the new princes. Because they're never here. Why are they never here? Is the Narcheska planning something?
Oh, I wouldn't see that coming because you don't think about the Narcheska for much past the Golden Fool trilogy.
But it's mentioned like every so often throughout this book. It was like she took the boys to where she's from again. I can't remember what her island. It's the Out
Islands. But they're like a matriarchal.
Yeah, like she
society,
desperately wants a daughter, doesn't she?
But she keeps taking the boys to the Out Islands and taking them away from their responsibilities, which everyone has a problem with. But why would she, like, and Dutiful saying, like, oh, well, I can't stop her because she's pointed out they're her kids as well. And, like, if she wants to take them, then let her take them. But she could just take one. And then the next time she could take the other one. She doesn't have to keep taking both of them. Like, they have responsibilities as princes to the Six Duchies. One of them's an heir.
I'm just kind of like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything odd going on about that because it was such a matriarchal society that she wants them to have a connection to their mother's house. Like that was.
I mean, at the end of the day,
like
it was like a thing of like joining of alliances, I guess. So I'm like, it makes sense to keep going back and forth between them to make sure it's still there.
Mm-hmm. I think Katrikin is really the only alliance marriage that has stayed primarily in Buckkeep. I mean, she does go back to the Mountain Kingdom, but she has really taken the mantle of Buckkeep on her shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fitz Vigilance or the family are about to go to Buckkeep in the spring, so assumedly Fitz won't be there by the time they do.
If Fitzvigilant is still alive.
But why is his mother so adamant? Well, it's not his mother, his stepmother, so adamant on getting rid of him. I don't think that that's true at all. Like, I didn't. It just. And for it to be, because Shade said it was like people disguised as thugs that just waited outside for him to come out of the tavern. But why would a highborn lady have access to those kind of people unless it's gone through someone else?
She had a guy who had a guy.
Yeah.
That's how those deeds get done. Yeah.
Okay, well. As always, I'm more confused as when we started.
Yeah. I'm intrigued to see how like the dragons and the Elderlings come into this series. In what way?
Because they've barely been mentioned.
Like there's been like chameleon stuff, and there was like one mention of Kelsingra, I think.
Yeah, and weren't they saying about Shade wanting to go back to the quarry and the well and to the city to track everything?
Yeah, I feel like he already probably knows some shit that he's keeping to himself from like the scrolls that they got back.
Yeah.
I think Shade just wants to do that because he's power hungry.
That's true.
Or just like, not even just power hungry, but like skill hungry.
And then is the way that Shade and Fitz are extending their life kind of similar to Elderlings? Because it comes from the Skill River, which is I can't remember what they called it in Rain Wild Chronicles, the stuff that the dragons drink.
Silver.
Huh?
Silver.
Ah, yeah. Lance's stepmom is the mother of the legitimate heirs, and she wants there to be no competition, like Desire with Regal. I mean, fair, but just let the boy live his life out in the countryside doing not a lot, you know. B dreamed a lot about snakes and boats, and I was trying to pin the exact reference to that because she said something about somebody blowing out fog as well.
I still really want Fitz to meet Paragon and like have a conversation. I've been waiting for so long.
Shade is part of the coterie. Yeah, true. I know, but I just feel like it's a big deal that they're everywhere and there's so many of them that everyone would be talking about it.
Yeah. We used to get annoyed about that with Fitz with other stuff, remember? Like they'd have like slight mentions and something. We'd be like, why does Fitz not care what's happening over there?
He's very self-serving.
Could Lamp be the Narcheska's bastard? I don't think so, because she's had so many miscarriages and she was only a kid when she came from the Out Island. She was like, what, 10, 11?
Yeah.
Unless it's happened while she's been... Oh, but she's obviously not gone for 9 months or whatever when she goes. Don't even thinking about Paragon makes me cry. So essentially we know nothing.
Yeah.
Is there anything that anybody in the chat wants us to talk about?
I don't think I've got anything else.
I really liked it when B said something about how people liken people's laughter to the tinkling of silver, and that Shun's laughter sounds like tin pans falling downstairs.
That was great.
Yeah, I just want to know what's going to happen to B now. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good. Okay, so at the very ending, right, when she is being kidnapped, and she kind of like goes along with her kidnapping so willingly. I'm going to be really interested to see if that comes into effect. Like, is it an emotional connection to them? Is it a magical kind of brainwashing? Because that had me very worried that B went with them so willingly at the very end.
Surprised if she faked that. Because she's proven that she's clever and can think on her feet. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were just like, shit, yeah. Just to go along with it.
I was so
But like
mad.
the thoughts that she was having was like, I don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah, she was like, I kind of have my people around me now.
So was that like a magical kind of entrapment? Does she really feel that way? Didn't she say she'd been waiting for them? Like, that's where I think like it's like kind of like a magical stronghold maybe over her. I don't know. Maybe she does want to stay with them. Because then Fitz says it's like the darkest days of his life. Does that mean B doesn't want to go with him when he maybe catches up with her? I don't know.
I just thought if B is actually supposed to be the actual White Prophet and the Fool isn't, that means that we read like 16 books for no reason.
I mean, they brought the dragons back, so I'm happy about that because I love a sassy dragon.
That's very true. It did give us live ships.
Like skilling or forging. Oh, right at the beginning, they said that the people that came, the minstrels that killed the original messenger, were like forged.
Yeah.
Which whites are like forged because they've got no scent. They're not.
Yeah.
It feels like there's nothing there if you try and like skill them or something.
Yeah.
But Wolffather never mentioned anything about B.
Oh, sure. Because he calls the fool the scentless one.
I'm sorry, but if I don't get to see Fitz ride a dragon in this series at any point, I'll be mad because I've been waiting. Because like when Webb's all like, "You should bond again," I'm like, "Come on, dragons!" But
That's what I'm holding out for. I'm holding out for a dragon bond.
I think Fitz kept along with the dragon.
Can you imagine Fitz? If Fitz bonds with a dragon, he'll become an Elderling and then he'll live forever in eternal misery.
Oh, this is true. Yeah.
I just want him to win.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine him being okay on the back of a dragon. I feel like he'd be really uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Night Eyes would be a little too jealous. I think maybe the clash of Night Eyes and a dragon. I don't think Fitz would fare well being in the middle of that at all.
No,
That's with the dragon.
B on the back of a dragon?
Like if not
nice.
Fitz, then I'm happy with B being on a dragon.
Really want Fitz to bond with something at least.
I might bring him some comfort.
I don't think he will.
No, I don't think he will either.
He needs to develop a healthy relationship with animals now instead of just completely ignoring all of them. Just like have casual conversations, like it doesn't have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene with the dog. Once again, I don't know what Robin Hobb has against dogs.
Oh, yeah. It was not a good time. I want Fitz to get a nice old dog and die in his sleep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the same ending that Night Eyes had? Is that, not also appropriate for Fitz?
The way
for Fitz when he dies, will it be Molly, will it be Night Eyes, or will it be the Fool? Providing if the Fool died before Fitz, which he shouldn't if he dies of old age.
If it's not Night Eyes, I'm gonna riot.
Well, and the fact that the Fool says that he's dying now, I'm like, no.
Yeah, I was like, can we not, please? all three of them. They're just not going to get on. If Molly's the odd one out because Night Eyes and the Fool are friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'll get a really dramatic scene where like the Fool and Night Eyes are the one to welcome him and like get him to accept it, and then he'll just be like sent on with Molly.
Yeah. Ugh,
What
I
if
wonder
it's
if.
Burrich?
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
That
don't. Ow. Or Chivalry. That wouldn't. Yeah.
That would have me all I've wanted. That's like literally all I've wanted.
I wonder if this series will devastate us as much as Night Eye's death. Like, I don't know what could come quite as close as that. But like, if the Fool goes, I might be done with her.
I literally thought that the Fool was going to die in his arms on the street, and I was like, if the Fool dies now, I'm not continuing this.
Yeah.
I just, no.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I would rather Fitz die than the Fool. Well, you can often make characters. But I think that might happen. You know, I think it's going to die in the series because why do we need another point of view?
No,
exactly.
Because the last book's called Assassin's Fate as well. Regardless, I don't think there will be any more Fitz books past this one, unless he's briefly mentioned in any books from like B's perspective.
I'm not okay with that.
I would rather the Fool died than Fitz because I think that Fitz's death would break the Fool more than the Fool's death would break Fitz.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like,
I think Fitz has got like one more tragedy away from just offing himself at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting actually because Molly just said, does Fitz know about Verity? He still keeps talking about being able to make a dragon by pouring memories into a statue, and I'm like, dude, they're not real dragons.
Yeah.
Players like, do they just still think Verity's flying around as a dragon? Like, honey, your information's outdated.
Interesting.
Tricky man.
oh, that would be too happy.
I like the idea that because the Fool lived so long that he left for Fitz to be with Molly and then returned when Molly was gone so that they could be together because he would have been keeping Fitz from a normal life.
That's very true.
But now he's lived his normal life.
Did I read that right when they were in Shade's tower that Fitz went and laid down beside Fool? Okay.
They were like holding hands and everything. I'm like,
yeah.
I love them.
Okay. I need to bow out. So I don't know if this is wrapping up or if it's just me, but
okay.
But thanks for having me. Much confusion. We'll join you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Wow. That's really
close.
Back a bit.
Do we have any predictions? I feel like all we've been doing is making predictions.
Yeah. Just pain. Just going to be pain to come.
I mean, I feel like Shade has to die. I was wondering, obviously Shade is incredibly selfish, but I was kind of wondering if he would, because of Fitz, if he would sacrifice himself to save the Fool.
Of course.
But I think Shade's too selfish too, because the Fool took strength from Riddle, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, Shade has the skill and he's old, but he's way too selfish to sacrifice himself to save the Fool on Fitz's behalf. Oh yeah, Fitz is 100% going on a rampage now. He has servants to kill. I hope it skips the bit where Fitz has to then go home and find out that B's been taken, and then
Right.
Like,
I
'cause
want
he's
him to find
covered
out
it.
from Buckkeep.
Yeah.
I don't know how he would though.
Because we've already covered in the epilogue that he knows that B's gone.
Yep.
So I hope we just like recover, like start a little bit after that point, so we don't have to recap all of the him finding out when we've already seen it from multiple perspectives. Yeah, are we finally going to get to see where the fool is from? I wanted to say I hope so, but now that they've turned out to be sadistic torturers, I'm not so sure. Shade would sacrifice Thick to save Fool. That's true.
Absolutely true. Because he has no regard for Thick.
Shade doesn't have... It's weird, actually, because Shade has known the Fool all this time. Even down to the point where, like, the Fool was Shrewd's closest companion. Shade doesn't seem to have any kind of real connection with the Fool at all, aside from just, like, knowing who he is.
That's
There were so many times during all the other books where we were all getting so angry. We're like, why does Fitz and Shade not ask the Fool information? You remember? Time.
Or I think, like with B, they thought that there was something not quite right with the Fool.
Yeah, like it was all riddles and mind
I
playing.
agree. And that he was still like childlike.
Yeah.
So Shade was off doing assassin things on behalf of Shrewd.
How much of the coterie aware? How much is the coterie aware of Shade?
Well, Nettle had that like apprentice next to her, didn't she? She was like quizzing her, like this as the skill master, skill mistress.
Oh yeah, I hope someone finds poor Perseverance under that cloak. I don't understand why she did that, because she left him in the road covered in a cloak where he's going to get trampled by horses because no one can see him. I mean, I get why she did it to hide him, but also like he wasn't in a place where it was like safe to hide him.
Yeah.
Does Shade have a connection with anyone? Rosemary? Fitz Vigilant? They all have like a weird thing going on.
Shun even spoke on his behalf.
And if we think about it, Rosemary, pretty shifty. She was Regal's spy to start off with. And Fitz has said multiple times, like, I wouldn't trust her if I was you, but Shade seems to know best.
Because like all these like super devastating things that have happened to Fitz, Shade has known about them. I still don't trust Rosemary. Exactly. I've never trusted Rosemary.
Yeah.
I've kind of like gotten over it now where I'm like, just kind of accept her.
But I'm like, but why though? We know what she did to everybody.
Yeah, she was just a kid though.
And it makes sense for Shade to, like, she obviously has the capability if she was doing that when she was a child, which seems to be what he's struggling to find. But why did he hang on to Fitz Vigilant so much when he was unsuitable? Because he kept saying to Fitz, like, oh, he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. Ready for what? You've already said that he's not capable to be an assassin. So, like, what is it that what's he not ready for? Why are you keeping hold of him?
I didn't think he was capable of much of anything.
Yeah.
When we met him, I was like, this guy's trash.
Because he's his son, possible.
Yeah.
With Huntswoman Laurel?
Maybe Shade has just been getting his end away everywhere and he's got like loads of bastards out there.
I don't doubt that for a second.
But why would people be hunting his bastards down? Because he's a bastard. So it's like bastardy twice removed to try and put one of his kids on the throne.
It's very confusing.
I will say that I did get a little like, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when we were introduced to new like Farseer bastards, like, oh, Fitz, you aren't the only special one. I was like, more? In the like 13th hour?
There's still a stigma against bastards even at this point, after like it's pretty much saved the day.
Well, nobody knows about that.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, Lant does seem too useless to be Shade's son.
That's why Shade was like, you gotta go.
And if Lant was his son, I don't feel like Shade would have been as like soft on him. Like I feel like he would have been like, no, you will be an assassin because you are my son.
Maybe he's just trying to birth a coterie of his own, like hoping that they'll have the skill.
Either that or they're all actually very well trained assassins and they're all plants. Like we said.
That's my main theory. That's my main theory going into the next one. Shun, you can see as this kid.
Regal was shrewd son, but you wouldn't be able to tell that's true. But I feel like he was coddled and also took after his mother a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to tell because Fitz is so suspicious of everyone. Like Nettle pointed it out in this one where she was like, "You can't see when people love you."
That hurt me so much.
Yeah, but it's like what we've been saying for all of these live shows. Like he doesn't think anyone cares about him.
Too messed up from the trauma.
He should have grown out of it a little bit now, though, because he's
been able to like live his dream with Molly.
Yeah.
In the estate. Yeah.
Maybe Shade is overcorrecting after being so hard on Fitz, which is possible because that's something that grandparents tend to do. They're better with their grandchildren than they are their own children.
I think Shade is overcorrecting for himself. I don't know that he would pass that on to anybody. I also think he's a little too self-serving for that. Oh, yeah. I also like that Fitz could recognize when he was being a little too self-serving.
Yeah, like at least he's self-aware. Like
took him till his 60s to get to this point.
Yeah.
I know Zaf also said that she was pissed off at throughout this book, and I think that's probably like the main redeeming thing about Fitz in this book was that he was finally becoming self-aware in his age.
I liked him in this book. He didn't bother me as much.
No, I really did love him. Obviously, I'm a Fitz fangirl, but
I knew what to expect from the beginning because he had that like letter that was like still making the same old mistakes. Cool. I know what I'm in for now.
I think because I feel like he's trying his best, you know.
Yeah, he is.
And I think he's doing all right. I don't think
I didn't think he was doing a bad job.
No, he's had some pretty impressive obstacles to overcome. Like he's pretty much lost everyone important to him in his life.
And also, how would he know how to run an estate? He's been like a vagabond his whole life.
I also find the grief elements of it like relatable, especially from like the two perspectives, and also in my own experience of when my mum passed away, like the disconnect between me and my dad and being Fitz, like after my mum, because I was obviously close to my mum being a girl, like I wasn't a daddy's girl, I was a mummy's girl, so like the disconnect after the loss and like the way that people think that they're doing right by the other one, but it's actually not, and it's nothing that like my mum would have done. Like all of that was like really relatable.
That's why I was like, I never thought I would say this, but this book made me really love Molly, and I think a lot of that has to do with that relationship that we saw through Bee's eyes. It was a different side of Molly because I was always used to seeing Molly from Fitz's perspective.
Yeah, it was great to see them be a team. Like she fit him well, she looked after him. It was nice.
I think that she was that Bee is actually, because like obviously he feels bad for the stuff that she's had to witness, but I actually feel like she's a good like daughter for him.
I agree. Yeah. Where at the end where she's like piecing things together, where she's like, my dad and I need to stand back to back on this and like look out for each other. And so like her picking up and sensing like what the other one was really saying, except, you know, except for the words that were actually coming out of their mouth. And like reading between the lines. That's what I'm trying to say. They were reading between the lines with what each other was saying all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that she was a very good companion for Fitz.
Marley saying, "Can't believe I cried over Molly dying as if I haven't wanted it for 40." So, I think, did she die of a stroke? Because that's what I kind of gathered happened to her.
I kind of pictured a heart attack the way it just something that she just collapsed in.
It was always the left side of her body that was bothering her as well, which I think is typical in heart attacks and strokes. Yeah, B is a true Farseer. She's very like practical as well, and also suited to the role of an assassin because she's very like she's not super emotional, and she's very practical. So.
The scene toward the end when B was furious at people for cleaning up her room and how Fitz like grabbed all the wrong things. I was like, you tried.
Yeah. It's really good as well that she'll like stand up to him and question him.
I like that. And he treats her like an adult.
Yeah, he respects her, which is really nice to see. Because he wasn't given the same respect when he was a child.
No.
His elders.
And I like they knew when each other was like in the room. They just were like, well, if she wants to be known, she'll make herself known.
And everybody else like talks over her or for her or doesn't ask her, like how everybody assumed that she couldn't speak.
Yeah.
But nobody ever asked her, so she obviously didn't say.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he did an all right job. I didn't think he did.
Yeah. He is doing his best. Ugh, just not ready for the pain of book 2 now. He's going to have to find out that she's bloody left after all of that.
I know. I'm like, do I want to jump right back into this or just like hold off? I'm not
sure. Like, when is the next live show planned?
It will be probably the week after we're at Yelp.
Nice.
So July?
Yeah, like the 6th-ish.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think we go to Yalk on the 8th, which is a Thursday. So I think it'll be the weekend after that.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's not read the second one at Yalk, though, right? If we actually read anything, let's not. Just not read that.
That's when things were getting a little too happy.
I
loved that part too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Molly. I also want to read book 2 right now. But I will forget everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fifi, I'll go post it in there for you now. Otherwise, so I'm just gonna go put in a date. If you know what it means.
Write it in my notes as well.
So we're looking at probably the 17th of July.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh. What's the second one called? Fool's
Quest.
Yes. The only thing I'd change about these books, I think, is the titles, because I get them confused all the time.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember I remember all of the names of the books for the first Fitz trilogy.
Mm.
The second and third Fitz trilogies, not a clue, apart from Fool's Errand. But
Yeah.
it destroyed me.
Yeah.
The Rain Wild Chronicles, forget about it. I don't remember any of those titles.
Yeah.
And I have it because it's right here. And the last one being Assassin's Fate. Like that one, I've known about the title of that one since I first began this series, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Molly said the cat is shifty, and I'm like, I think that's actually just because it's a cat.
I think that's just cat behavior. I was reading it and I was like, oh, Tibbs. That's how Tibbs would be.
Yeah, no, cats are assholes. I don't even know what mine is.
Although I like that the cat is black and white because it reminded me. I was like, oh.
The cat being black and white remind anyone of like Piebald Prince? Or what's the color of the cat on the Inheritance like short stories, the Megan Lindholm?
Isn't it a tabby?
Maybe it's a little too. I don't know all the cat different colors, so
let's have a look.
Could be way off.
Yeah, but I read this one and I was like, oh, it's Ham, but Ham is so much sweeter than this cat in this book.
There's a ginger and a tabby.
Oh, okay. Thought she was gonna bond with the cat. I kind of didn't expect her to bond with the cat because that cat was just being very cat.
Yeah, and also because Fitz said that she was wolf-like. And like,
yeah, she's a cat gal.
If she's going to bond, it's going to be to a dog or a wolf. Very happy we got more cats, though. I love the cats in... What was the cat called? Was it Fennel or something? That was like always like pet me and was like going on his lap all the time.
Oh, the one, was she called Jenna?
Yeah.
Her cat?
Her cat. I like that cat the most out of all the cats we've had so far.
Yeah. Yeah, cats be dicks in the best possible way. Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like she writes cats and dragons very similarly, and yes. Makes sense to me.
I like, I'm a dog gal myself because I just can't deal with the attitude from cats. Is an asshole.
Yeah. I kind of like the attitude of cats. It's like you have to earn their love. Feels more rewarding to me.
Like I don't feel like a cat person because I definitely prefer dogs and dogs prefer me to cats. But I also think I'm well suited to a cat because instead of being all over them and obsessed with them, we kind of just have like a healthy respect for each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm very much cat-like, but I love dogs too. But yeah.
Cats and I have to really figure each other out for a while. And it's since I don't have cats, it's usually longer than I'm like around them for them to even like get to that point with me. Like my sister's cat, he and I like have to start over every single time we see each other.
I think that's probably about it for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how long I'm gonna wait before I crack this open.
How long is that one?
This is the mass market. So this one's $7.69.
It didn't look that thick when you were holding it.
Looks manageable.
Yeah. And I'm actually taking the bus to work this week because we're down a car. So I don't know if this will be my bus book or if I'm just gonna read something trashy.
I feel trashy because you'll be crying on the bus, right? It's like,
when I travel, I always read trash because I don't have to pay like a whole ton of attention to it.
That's true. Yeah. It's been a while since I've needed a bus book because I've been like audiobooking it for so long. What was the last bus book? I read the Outlander series on the bus.
Wow.
That was hard. Because again, I had to like block out a lot. Oh, you know what I did read on the bus? All the Light We Cannot See. Talk about like wanting to sob in public. Yeah.
Wow. The only thing I know about that book is that it's sad and
Super
historical.
sad. Yeah, World War II history, super sad.
Right.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So it looks like we'll see you all in July with the next one. And that's it.
Only 2 more left.
Oh my God. Don't even.
I know.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.